We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by GrokTALK.com, New Hampshire's conservative website. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for 2 hours of news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com. GrokTALK.
Yeah, baby!
We're going to be listening to that all day long.
He's going to take this away from me. Good morning.
That's just a little much.
May, at least I edited it down. May 31st, 2014. Welcome to GrokTALK, brought to you by Grok and CNHT. Please visit us at GrokTALK.com and CNHT.org.
Please.
We like to read what we write and view what we videotape and listen to what we record. And, of course, because we link to lots of other people, we connect you to resources around the Internet that you may not have ever considered visiting before. And it gives you an opportunity to expand your world.
Not only that, but we covered your comments. We like to have some lively discussions, and lately we have been having some of those on some of our posts. So join in the fun. Just go to Grok, pick a topic, pick a post, and sign in to comment. And yes, you are allowed to comment anonymously.
And we had a few comments from Crispy Bacon last night, and I said, well, why don't you call in? He said we'd find him boring. I don't think so. So if you're listening at that Baconator,
well, I mean,
you got the number.
Maybe he's only fun in print. I don't know. It could be. I've always insisted that print was a better medium for me. Anyway, later on, when we're done talking a lot, we're going to have Warner Todd Houston from Breitbart.com with us. He also has his own website,
Publius Forum,
Publius Forum, and then he contributes a lot of other places. But
oh yes,
he's going to be visiting via phone, and then after that, Regina Birdsell, who is a House rep who's running for the New Hampshire State Senate, will be in studio, I believe, to talk about that race. And probably at the end of the session, we'll talk about some of the bills that are still rattling around in that empty skull down there, up there. Well, a couple blocks away. Sorry, we're not that far from the empty skull. And then mostly the first hour will just be us talking about all the great things that have been going on this week, and there have been quite a few things that have gone on. We mentioned a few.
And some of them have actually been great.
Some of them have been great in the pre-show. We've got Shinseki, Carney. We've got we can talk about the Elliot Rodgers thing.
Michelle Obama and school lunches.
Oh, that's a great story. She's getting all uppity.
Ooh, that's a nasty word.
You can't use that word in conjunction with Muchel.
My wife's name is Michelle. How you know I wasn't talking
about
her?
No, we're referring to Muchel as in mooch.
Oh, see, my wife was talking about lunches earlier, and she was getting uppity. I'm sorry, we made a mistake there. No, I am talking about the First Lady.
Did you know that according to
She's not being bossy. I didn't say that. That would be bad.
Did you know that CNN has now amended the Constitution unilaterally so that Michelle Obama can now sign laws?
Awesome.
She signed that school lunch law.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah. No, I'm serious.
Did she?
That's what
she robo-signed it as Barack? What?
No. One of the CNN female anchors said that she had signed that law, signed that legislation into law.
Excellent.
Great. We elected who?
Valerie Jarrett, helped by Michelle Obama.
Yeah. See, when you elect a Democrat, you get their wife, or whoever they're claiming is their wife. Whatever the deal is, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think moving on forward, we'll have Democrat presidents with husbands, male husbands. I expect that someday that'll happen. And then, of course, they'll. They have to be like part of the executive branch. They can't just do stuff. They have to change stuff. They have to alter the legislative landscape. They have to fly around the country and promote issues. And I mean, there's one thing to be an advocate.
Yep.
But it's another thing altogether to be, a force, a political power. Frickin' Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. The question will be...
Hillary Clinton, First Lady, major force behind a health care law. In Congress.
She
testified.
She ran the meetings.
First Lady.
In secret.
FBI, the bimbo eruptions. She had so many official jobs, that were saying, oh, this is a good thing. We got 2 for the price of 1. Great. That's like having an extra... I'm not even going to say the word.
My only question is if Bill is going to be the first dude, is he going to act like Jimmy Carter's brother? If you go way back, I'm old enough to remember Billy Bear.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, he was a hoot to watch. I mean, he was quite the embarrassment for Jimmy.
Well, Bill Clinton was an embarrassment as president. He didn't need to go.
The question is, if Hillary wore the pants when Bill was president, who wears the pants if she becomes president?
Or no pants.
The pantsuit.
Yeah, that's probably more like it.
Right. So,
but yeah, it seems like she's very upset that the Republican House decided to pass legislation. Allowing local schools to make local decisions about their local cafeteria.
I mean, it was based on this whole. It was based on the whole. If they're like losing all kinds of money, that they can change the menu.
Right. I mean, it's actually a pernicious spiral here. The federal government subsidizes school lunches to a small extent.
Oh no, it's more than small.
No, it was subsidizing them to a small extent, and the schools reasonably could choose to take the money or not, and budget their own lunches. But once they got on board this healthy lunch initiative, they had to take the money because they couldn't afford to run it without, and they're wasting scads of money, and they can't stay afloat unless they take the federal dollar. There's a time at which you say, you know what, the hell with this, we're not taking any money, and we'll do our own damn menus.
Well, I got news for you. The amount of money that most local school systems get from the federal government is not small. Trust me, having been on the budget committee when I looked at these budgets, it's a really big part of their budget. This just put it on steroids, but now you are hearing of local school districts saying, we cannot afford the cost of all this quote-unquote healthy stuff, because as progressives, we all know that while the intentions might be good, I mean, who wants a student to go hungry with or without healthy food? Everybody's for that, but it's setting those standards so high, and then they never care about the cost because it's never their money. It's always somebody else's money. And the perverse thing about this is the hypocrisy. If you gosh, I forgot what website first brought it out, but if you looked at the menu at the Sidwell School, where the Obama kids went, I mean, I'm looking at this meatball sub slathered with cheese, toasted bun, the sauce just coming out all over the place, and the meatballs. I got hungry just looking at the picture. And you looked at all the other stuff that was on the menu, and you go,
this is really just an attack on American exceptionalism, because you realize that we became one of the most powerful nations in the world with what, according to the current regime, would have been inferior lunch menus. We fed kids garbage for 100 years or whatever, and somehow we managed to become healthier, more productive, produce more GDP, and make the world a better place on crappy lunches. Now they're serving garbage nobody wants to eat. Everybody's walking around going, oh, I'm hungry. That's the whole point, right? They're just knocking us down a peg.
Not only that, but they want to do it year round. Even when the kids are not in school, they want to serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And a lot of these places, it's like what I've been saying for years. What are the parents for? What are the parents responsible for?
Put a big sign over it that says People's Republic Diner, maybe?
I mean, they get their health care, they get their food, they get the dental.
Do they have to eat in a mouse suit?
He's derailed another train.
No, a very good idea. They should have to eat them in a mouse suit, and at least you're not spoiling your good clothes with bad food.
You know, lettuce doesn't really leave a big stain. Salad dressing, on the other hand.
It's the oil.
But there's too much fat in that.
Yeah, but did you read that some of these, in order to meet the calorie minimums with the food that they were forced to serve, they had to add cheese sauce and stuff to the menu?
Yeah.
It's so screwed up. It's central planning at its best. And it's like I've said, when I've written probably a dozen articles about this stupid story. You know, I'm wondering if these kids are going to learn that this is what central planning is. It's not just going to be your lunch. It's going to be everything, Julia, from now till you die, which is going to be sooner because they took over the healthcare system. Somebody's calling.
Somebody is calling. All right.
Wow.
What line are you going to use? Just so I know. It's one
line 2.
It's line 2.
Line 2.
Oh, okay.
Let me get the phone plugged in.
It's Michelle Obama.
Oh, actually, it's line 1.
Line 1. That means it's
line
somebody
1.
that knows the number
Good
for
morning.
line 1.
This is GrokTALK.
Hey, GrokTALK. This is Crispy Bacon out here in Arizona. How you
doing? Just as we were talking about bad lunches and no calories, here comes the bacon guy himself.
Crispy!
Welcome.
Thanks for bringing the bacon.
Turn him up.
I did.
Line 1, you still there?
He's not talking. Did you hang up on him?
Crispy, are you there? Crispy?
See,
Crispy?
are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
here,
sorry.
man. I'm here.
We're having a
I
button
thought you
issue.
guys hung up on me.
No, Steve hit the wrong button. We're all here. So yeah, thanks for bringing the bacon when we were talking about bad food.
Oh, hey, I didn't know if you had any guests on this morning. I didn't want to interrupt anything important with my jocularity.
No, the first half hour we generally reserve for ourselves, so you are good to go.
This is the free-for-all
good.
segment.
Excellent. How's the weather up there?
Crappy. It's in the 50s, and I can't figure out whether the sun's supposed to come out or it's supposed to rain again.
Actually, it'll be nice tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, we get one nice day every weekend, I think. And you're in
man.
you're in a nice warm place.
Is it Arizona?
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, I'm right in the center of Arizona, but I'm at a mile high, so we're like Denver, where my house is at 5,200 feet. I sit on top of a mountain.
Oh, cool.
Oh, like me.
Yeah, but I used to live up there. I lived in Massachusetts for many years, in New Hampshire, and Hollis for a little while, and Nashua.
Oh, cool. Well,
But,
I live in Hollis now, so...
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, and I'm thinking I should move a little further upstate and move to a defensible mountaintop or something.
There you go. You got to be defensible. Anyway, I tell you what, you guys have a great sense of humor. I mean, no matter how much ribbon I do, even that airbrush marine you have there, no matter how much ribbon I give you guys always come back for more, and you're always polite. And, I go to the liberal websites where I have a lot of fun haranguing them, and they really get their panties in a wad. And I'm always getting kicked off, and I have to make a new name, and it's brutal.
No. The only one we ever kick off is a particular liberal that comes around and around. He works under at least 3 different names, but his writing style's so recognizable. And usually we just poke fun at him, and every once in a while we lose 1 or 2 of his posts, so he thinks he's being censored.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what, I get brutalized over there at Tree Hugger and the Grist, and they don't have a sense of humor. It's funny because I would expect a place of high tolerance to be tolerant, but they're really not.
Tyranny is a very serious business.
Yeah,
It is.
Well,
Anyways.
Crispy,
You got to understand, it's not a tolerant place. It is, you will be tolerant of us.
Right.
yeah,
You
Crispy,
will be tolerant, or we're going to spank your pee-pee. Yeah.
Chris, this is Skip, and you've commented upon this before on Granite Rock, and we'd like to think that we stick to principles. And if I get serious just for a minute, if we are out and talking about the First Amendment, which applies to government, we need to be able to apply that in spirit on Granite Rock as well. Otherwise, we'd just be hypocritical. So, while there's an awful lot, there are a few cases where I will do an edit or I will put down a comment just because it violates my rule number 1, which is adult themes but kid friendly. Pretty much, I'm going to let go whatever goes on to the comments, because otherwise I am shutting down free speech, and I can't do that. I couldn't live with myself if I did that. I'll admit you come close to that edge every so often, but I want to say thank you for thanking us for letting your comments go, because that means that we're doing things correctly.
Well, Skip, I think I'm going to cry later after we get off the phone. Maybe smoke a fatty, because that was an emotional roller coaster you just took me on there, and thank you for thanking me for thanking you.
It's gonna be hard for you to get on with the rest of your day. I can see that.
This was fun. Well, go put up a cardboard target of a liberal and have some fun. That's a far better way of dealing with stress relief.
I was just in California when that Santa Barbara shooting happened.
Oh,
I
whereabouts?
was thinking, man, I just bought a brand new S&W 686, which I couldn't bring to California with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, man, if I had had that with me, I probably could have knocked that little
You could have
fruitcake off.
saved some lives, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course everybody will blame, like you guys said in that article. Doesn't matter what happens, the NRA gets blamed.
I blamed California in the Brady campaign.
Yeah,
it's their fault.
Tom Brady?
No, Tom Brady. No, I don't think he was there, but
Oh, okay.
different
I didn't
Brady
hear
campaign.
anything about that.
Yeah, no, the Brady campaign gave California an A- as a grade on their anti-gun agenda, and of course, right after Sandy Hook, they had passed 11 new gun restriction bills in California, which Governor Moonbat Brown signed. And yet still we have this, obviously, because none of those bills affect anybody who follows the law. I mean, or they affect everybody who follows the law, not people who don't. So I figured since they were disarming people, it was their responsibility to take credit for these deaths.
Hey,
well,
Crispy.
I think they should make a new law about, it's against the law for those who don't obey the law to break the law. and I'm sure that'll straighten everything out. Hey, what was I going to tell you guys about? I can't even remember now.
Well, let me ask you this, Crispy. Did the media at all, out your way, mention that, well, the first 3 deaths that this nitwit caused, and I'm not going to mention his name on purpose, was by using a sharpened piece of steel, and then he went and used his $40,000 vehicle, that gas guzzler. Gosh, what a reason to get rid of cars is because they hurt people when they drive back.
Wasn't that the BMW?
Yeah, the BMW.
They used those to kill ducks up here.
Yeah. I'm totally serious, guys. I gave up media in 2008. I have no idea what the media says. I don't do news. I don't do radio. Except for you guys and Tree Hugger and Grist, I have no idea. It was like 3 years before I realized Hillary Clinton was, what is she, Secretary of State or something? I was just at the airport.
Was there a post?
I had to give it up, man. I had to give it up.
I hear you.
I couldn't take it anymore.
Was there a poster
I
of
grew
her?
up in Latin America. I grew up in Latin America, and we would come back to the United States all the time when I was a kid. And I'd be watching the news. This back in the early 70s, and I was, Nicaragua, they're doing such and such. And I'm like, geez, Dad, didn't we just drive through Nicaragua? I mean, we lived in Panama. Seriously, we lived in Panama, and we would drive the Trans-American Highway up through all the countries of Central America to Texas, over to Florida, and up to New England to visit the family. And I'd be like, geez, we were just there. I don't remember any of this stuff happening. And my dad at a young age explained to me that most media is just made up. And I sent you guys that picture when I was in the Coast Guard there in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was arresting Greenpeace girls and, Coast Guard, and it's got a picture of me out on the bow of the ship. It's really, I was just trying to score me a hairy girl. And I wasn't looking to arrest anybody. Seriously. And I remember the next
Are you caricaturing liberal feminazis there, Crispy?
Hey, any way I can get it. But anyway, the next night, I was at a huge country western bar, which I don't do country western unless I'm feeling like I need to commit suicide. But that's where the good-looking girls are. And, rock girls, they got the tattoos and the blisters and the snot running out of their nose. You want the good-looking girls, you got to go to the country western bars. And I'm coming out, and this guy literally says to me, hey, I know you. And he goes, I filmed you last night. I work for CNN Worldwide. I said, I don't have any idea what CNN is. But anyways, I was on the second front page of the Times-Picayune, and the whole story was made up. Nobody even talked to me. Nobody talked to the girls that I was supposedly arresting. So between my being raised in Central America and coming back to the United States all the time, this is in the early 70s, seeing stuff just completely blatantly made up. And then actually being involved in it, on the Mississippi River there in New Orleans, I was like, damn, I think they're just making stuff up to sell advertising.
You're right. I stopped watching most major media. I get the Sunday paper because I want the coupons. That's really the only reason I get it. And most of my news comes from online. I don't watch people go, you watch Fox News, and I go, no, I don't. Once in a while I see it when I'm flipping through the channels looking for something to entertain me, but I don't watch TV news. I just have it for a long, long time, and I agree with you. And that's the reason. If it's not entirely made up, it's so slanted that you're never going to get what you want. So
yeah, I actually record Fox News, so if somebody says, hey, did you see such and such, I can go back and get the clip of the interview.
Right.
Crispy, I got a question for you.
People walk around all, frustrated and angry and pissed off, and it's about stuff most of the time that's not even true.
Crispy, I have to ask you this question. If you say that you're only reading Grist, Tree Hugger, and Granite Grok, I'm trying to figure out what's your worldview like, because I know Tree Hugger very well. I know Granite Grok obviously very well, and I have heard but not gone to Grist. Tell us, what is your opinion of the differences between the other two and us?
Dude, I got to tell you, the way it all happened was like 3 years ago. Now I live 90 minutes from Phoenix, and it's a different world. I live a mile high, biggest ponderosa pine forest in the world. But my wife and I used to have to drive down to Phoenix 5 days a week to work because I had a construction company down there. And so 3 years ago, I was looking for it was 2007. Damn, time flies. I was looking for a hybrid car. And so I just did a search for hybrid cars, and Tree Hugger popped up. So I started reading some stuff on Tree Hugger, and there's Street Dog making the funniest damn remarks I'd ever seen written. I mean, I couldn't even believe what I saw. And
we're still looking for that guy.
Yeah, he was a freaking riot. And I don't even care about right and wrong. I care more about who's funny. And because right and wrong changes all the time, but funny, forever. And so I started reading this guy's comments, and I was like, this guy is a freaking riot. And really, he's the one that brought me to Granite Grok, because I would look on his comments, and then I would go, and that's kind of what brought me to you guys. I've never voted in my life. I know that sounds terrible, and it's just because I think the whole thing's a show. Now, I think on a local level, you can probably make some changes. But see, I've lived all over the Western Hemisphere, so I don't get involved in the local level too much because I'm always on the run. I've lived in Jamaica and Panama and Colombia and Puerto Rico and New Hampshire and Massachusetts and Texas and Louisiana and Arizona, and been to hundreds of other places. So I don't really get involved in local politics because I don't give a rat's butt, because I'm probably leaving soon. But,
well, in Colombia, local politics is the guy who can avoid the bullets the best.
Yeah, it was rough when I was there. I was there in '73. It was kind of rough. But
I was there in the '90s a few times. I like the place. I like the people, but you do have to be careful.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
Kind of like
New York City.
Yeah, or Chicago.
I don't like the people there.
Santa Barbara.
Hey, so I was just in the Los Angeles area. No, I didn't want to be there, but my kids love, California, the land of fruits and nuts. So we and lots of rides. So I took them to Magic Mountain and all them places. But I'll tell you what, they really need something out there, because you can't even breathe. I mean, I'm still scratching my throat, and I've been home for 3 days. No, it's unbelievable, man. The air out there, you see it on TV, and you can't really appreciate it like you can in person. I mean, in person, it literally brings tears to your eyes. I mean, literally, and I'm kind of in alternative healthcare, and the lesions on people's lungs in California, 20-year-old kids with lesions on their lungs because of the air quality.
Well, I used to go out there all the time to do technical training, and there was one time doing 3 days worth of training at a customer site, and across the street was a white building, and that was the time when laser pointers were just coming out, and everybody had to have one, and so did I, and mine was more powerful than everybody else's. You got to have those toys. Anyways, the smog and the marine layer were so thick, I couldn't even hit the other side of the street on a white building with that laser pointer. And this was one that was built for, you're at the back of a hall trying to point out on the screen. So this was not just a little pencil geek one, halfway across the room kind of deal, a regular classroom.
So you're talking about Silicon Valley, right, Skip?
This was actually in LA one time,
okay.
just on the side of the mountains.
So if you know Northern California, it's all Silicon Valley and the Bay Area. There's a lot of stuff goes on there, and it too is surrounded by mountains, and it too you get the ozone and the stuff all cooks in the daytime. And you don't really appreciate how bad it is until one of two things: you have a rainfall overnight, and you wake up and the mountains around are freshly laundered. You can actually see them, because usually you can't. And the other thing is you go up Mount Hamilton. If you're not familiar, it's 4,000 feet on the eastern edge of Silicon Valley, and there's an observatory up there, and it's a nice drive. And you go up there, and on the way up, you look down into the valley, and there's a vague layer of mist at about 500 feet. And you go up there and walk around for a bit, and it's midday, and you look down into the valley, and there's a brown soup that's 1,500 feet thick.
Yeah.
But I will have to
so
say,
many people.
Yeah, well, I have to say this, though. I used to go there in the late 70s, early 80s, out on business. And when I started to go back out again in the 90s and the early aughts, big change. Much, much better.
Yeah. Really better. Damn.
Oh yeah, well, just like the London smogs, when you got rid of the worst of the particulates, like when they banned actual coal burning in London because they had to. Not that I like banning stuff, but the cleanup of the car exhausts has actually worked. LA is, if you think it's bad now, it's a lot better than it was 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But the problem is that the strictures that they put in place there seem to be all over. Oh, I hear music.
All right, then. Hey, it was good talking to you guys.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
We appreciate
Thanks so much.
this.
We love your comments.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right,
Take care, Crispy.
Bye-bye. All right, this is GrokTALK. I am Steve McDonald here with Skip Murphy and Mike Rogers and our phone-in guest, Crispy Bacon, who just... Crispy Murphy. I almost said Crispy Murphy. That sounds pretty good, actually. We had a guest for the first segment. We didn't do it. Now we'll come up in the next segment, and who knows? Maybe somebody else will call in, or we'll just do what we were going to do. So, thanks for tuning in to GrokTALK. We'll be right back after this.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen said, if you like your current health plan, you can keep it. That's not true, Senator. 22,000 New Hampshire citizens have been kicked off their insurance plans. Hospitals in Rochester, Concord, and Portsmouth, they aren't allowed to provide care under the exchange. Senator, you were wrong in your comments. You should apologize for your misleading remarks. I'm calling Senator Shaheen at 750-3004 and telling her I want my doctor back. You should too.
Paid for by saberpac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
When asked whether she still supports Obamacare, Senator Jeanne Shaheen said,
"Yes, I do continue to support the law. We're beginning to see some positive results."
How can Senator Shaheen say we're seeing positive results when 22,000 of our neighbors have already lost their health insurance? What's worse, the Boston Globe reports the state's only health insurance provider radically reduced the number of hospitals in their network, forcing some people to drive over an hour for lab work, even when there's a hospital within a few miles of their home. When pressed about lack of access, Shaheen said,
"There are some hospitals that are not covered, unfortunately, and I certainly hope that's going to change."
Jeanne Shaheen promised us we could keep our doctors and our health care coverage. Now she hopes we can get to a local hospital? Call Senator Shaheen at 603-647-7500. Tell her we need more than hope. We need leadership. Paid for by Citizens for a Strong New Hampshire.
Grok TV.